Introduction. Damage of the myelin sheath, which surrounds and protects nerve fibers in the central nervous system, is the primary effect of this disorder. Transmission of electrical signals across the nervous system is facilitated by the myelin's insulating properties that in multiple sclerosis. Inflammation and the development of scar tissue or plaques result from the immune system's erroneous targeting and attack of the myelin. These plaques impede the transmission of nerve impulses, which can result in a wide variety of symptoms. Depending on where in the central nervous system, CNS, damage has occurred, different people will have different sets of symptoms associated with multiple sclerosis. Fatigue, muscle weakness, difficulty with coordination and balance, numbness or tingling feelings, problems with eyesight, and cognitive and emotional difficulties are all common symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Periods of relapse and remission may occur when these symptoms fluctuate in severity or disappear altogether. The most prevalent type of MS is relapsing remitting MS, which occurs in cycles of symptom worsening and improvement. However, in progressive onset multiple sclerosis, PPMS, symptoms worsen over time rather than relapsing and improving. Although it is not known for sure, multiple sclerosis is likely caused by a mix of hereditary and environmental factors. Infections, smoking, and a lack of vitamin D, among other things, have been linked to an increased chance of having the illness, which is thought to be partially inherited. Women are more likely to be diagnosed with MS than males, and MS is frequently diagnosed in patients between the ages of 20 and 40. Due to the lack of a definitive diagnostic test, multiple sclerosis, MS, can be difficult to diagnose. Clinical evaluations, patient histories, neurological exams, and diagnostic testing, including magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, and cerebrospinal fluid analysis, all help in the final diagnosis. Multiple sclerosis, MS, has no known cure, but can be treated to alleviate symptoms, reduce disease progression, and enhance quality of life. In the pages ahead, we will be looking at all you need to know to manage this condition. Chapter 1. Structure of the brain and spinal cord. The central nervous system, CNS, is a very intricate network of nerves that controls and regulates many different body processes. The brain and spinal cord constitute a system that takes in data, processes it, and sends it elsewhere in the body. Multiple sclerosis, MS, is a chronic autoimmune illness that affects the central nervous system. In multiple sclerosis, the immune system mistakenly assaults the myelin sheaths that surround nerve fibers in the central nervous system. Because of this, messages sent to and from the brain and spinal cord are not received or transmitted efficiently. As the nerve system's control hub, the brain regulates virtually every bodily process. It takes in data from the senses, processes it, and then triggers the necessary actions. This entails things like controlling your respiration and heart rate, and processing information from your senses of touch, sight, and sound. Signals from the brain are relayed down the spinal cord to the rest of the body. It's also important for the coordination of reflex actions, which are quick, instinctive responses to stimuli that don't require any thought on the part of the brain. Disruptions in signal transmission, including difficulties with motor control and sensory perception, can result from multiple sclerosis-related damage to myelin in the spinal cord. Depending on what parts of the central nervous system are damaged by multiple sclerosis and to what degree, patients may have a wide range of symptoms. Fatigue, weakening in the muscles, issues with coordination and balance, abnormal sensations like numbness or tingling, and difficulty with thinking and emotion are all common. Symptoms of multiple sclerosis, MS, can vary considerably from person to person and may come and go due to the disease's unpredictable nature. However, if MS worsens over time, damage to the central nervous system, CNS, may become more pervasive and permanent, resulting to disability. Detecting lesions or areas of demyelination in the CNS typically requires a combination of clinical evaluation, medical history, neurological exams, and imaging tools like magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. Treatments for MS aim to alleviate symptoms, decrease the disease's course, and alter the immune response to lessen CNS inflammation and damage. The central nervous system regulates the immune system in addition to coordinating other body activities. It aids in keeping the body's immune response calibrated to deal with hazardous microorganisms or foreign substances by striking a balance between immunological activation and repression. However, this delicate equilibrium is thrown off in MS patients. The myelin sheath is attacked because the immune system mistakes it for a foreign invader. Scar tissue, sclerosis, forms in the afflicted regions of the central nervous system after inflammation and myelin breakdown are triggered by this immune response. Myelin loss, as the disease proceeds, can interfere with the normal conduction of electrical signals along nerve fibers. Various symptoms, including muscle weakness, coordination and balance issues, eye impairments, and altered feeling, may result from this. Depending on where in the central nervous system, CNS, damage has occurred, different people with MS will experience different sets of symptoms. A continual assault by the immune system on the myelin coating can also cause the underlying nerve fibers to deteriorate. The central nervous system, CNS, may sustain chronic damage, resulting to long-lasting or progressively increasing neurological impairments. The progression of MS varies greatly from person to person. Some people have a relapsing remitting pattern in which symptoms worsen and then improve, while others have a progressive type of the condition in which the symptoms gradually get worse over time. Genetic susceptibility, environmental triggers, and an individual's overall health and lifestyle can all play a role in the severity of multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis has an impact on people's mental and emotional health. Stress, anxiety, and despair can all grow as a result of having to deal with the unpredictability of the condition, managing chronic symptoms, and confronting the prospect of incapacity. The central nervous system, CNS, which controls emotions, may be impacted by the disease process itself, worsening the corresponding psychological symptoms. The lives of loved ones and those who care for someone with multiple sclerosis are also profoundly affected by the disease. They can better manage the challenges of caregiving and protect the well-being of their loved ones if they have a firm grasp of the disease process and its consequences on the CNS. The CNS is very important in MS because it is the target of the immune onslaught and coordinates the body's operations. Physical, mental, and emotional symptoms manifest as a result of MS's effect on the central nervous system. Improving the quality of life for people with multiple sclerosis requires a deeper understanding of the intricate connections between the immune system, the central nervous system, and the disease process. Despite the difficulty of treating neurological disorders, ongoing research and medical progress offer promise for better diagnosis and treatment. Classifications of multiple sclerosis, MS. It's unclear what triggers multiple sclerosis, but scientists believe both genetics and the environment play a role. Evidence suggests that an individual's genetic makeup influences their risk of contracting the disease. Multiple sclerosis risk is also thought to be raised by exposure to certain environmental factors, such viruses, insufficient vitamin D, and tobacco use. Multiple sclerosis comes in a variety of forms, each with its own unique set of symptoms and rates of disease progression. In relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, RRMS, the most prevalent type, patients may undergo periods of symptom improvement or remission. Primary progressive multiple sclerosis, PPMS, is another type, in which symptoms develop over time rather than relapsing. After an initial period of relapsing remitting MS, a person may enter a stage known as secondary progressive MS, SPMS, during which their symptoms increase significantly over time. Finally, there is progressive relapsing MS, PRMS, in which symptoms gradually worsen over time and then occasionally flare up again. Multiple sclerosis can be diagnosed by looking at a patient's medical history, conducting a physical exam, and running several tests. Inflammation and injury in the central nervous system can often be detected with an MRI scan. The CSF fluid can be tested for MS biomarkers via procedures like lumbar puncture, spinal tap. Even though multiple sclerosis has no known cure, there are many treatments that can alleviate its symptoms, delay its progression, and increase the patient's overall quality of life. Disease-modifying therapy and other medications can lessen the severity of relapses and put off the onset of impairment. Physical therapy and occupational therapy are only two examples of the rehabilitation services that can help people deal with their symptoms. Counseling and support groups, for example, can help people deal with the mental and emotional toll that living with a chronic illness can bring. Prevalence and demographics of multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis, MS, affects both men and women equally. However, it does show some interesting patterns. Compared to men, women have a higher risk of having multiple sclerosis. This difference between the sexes raises the possibility that hormonal and genetic variables have a role in the development of the disease. Distinct patterns of MS prevalence can be seen across the globe. Unlike in tropical and subtropical climates, it is more common in temperate zones like Europe, North America, and some parts of Asia. The possibility that environmental factors like sun exposure and vitamin D levels play a role in the onset of multiple sclerosis has arisen as a result of this finding. This does not mean, however, that MS does not exist in warmer climates. Rather, it simply occurs less frequently there. The prevalence of MS also appears to vary significantly across ethnic groups. For example, the chance of acquiring MS is higher among people of European heritage compared to people of other ethnicities. Multiple sclerosis, MS, affects a wide variety of people around the world. Thus, this pattern is not unique. Additional evidence for the role of environmental factors comes from studies of migration, which show that people who move from areas of low MS prevalence to high prevalence areas take on the risk associated with their new location. Multiple sclerosis is commonly diagnosed in people between the ages of 20 and 50. MS is especially difficult to manage throughout this age range because it corresponds with the time when people are establishing jobs and starting families, which can have far-reaching social and economic effects. Globally, the incidence of MS ranges from less than 5 cases per 100,000 people to more than 200 cases per 100,000 people in some locations. These numbers highlight the global scope of the disease's effect on victims, their loved ones, and healthcare systems. Chapter 2. Treatment and Diagnosis. MS is diagnosed after a thorough process that uses many diagnostic tools and the knowledge of multiple professionals. A healthcare physician would often begin by reviewing the patient's medical history and conducting a comprehensive evaluation of the patient's symptoms. The primary care physician may decide to refer the patient to a neurologist, a medical doctor with advanced training in the diagnosis and treatment of neurological disorders, based on the results of the initial evaluation. The neurologist is an integral part of the diagnosis team and must oversee any follow-up testing. Magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, of the brain and spinal cord is one of the most crucial procedures used to diagnose MS. Detailed images from an MRI scan can show inflammation or lesions, both of which are commonly signs of multiple sclerosis. Tests like a lumbar puncture, sometimes called spinal tap, and MRI may be done. This method involves removing a tiny volume of cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, from the spinal canal and analyzing it for markers that can indicate the presence of multiple sclerosis. Diagnosis also relies heavily on the evaluation of clinical symptoms and the presence of certain criteria. The revised McDonald criteria are widely used to diagnose MS. These criteria consider a number of different characteristics, such as the number and location of lesions, the frequency of relapses, and other clinical signs. Eye doctors, who can test for and diagnose problems with the optic nerve, may also play a role in the diagnosis process. Since MS can also cause issues with urine control, urologists may be consulted to evaluate bladder function. Multiple sclerosis diagnostics are generally iterative and involve team effort. Specialists pool their resources, exchange data, and arrive at a definitive diagnosis as a team. To ensure an accurate diagnosis of MS, the method also takes into account the elimination of other illnesses that may produce similar symptoms. It's worth noting that a proper diagnosis of MS can be difficult and may include a series of tests administered over time. Clinical findings, test data, and the combined knowledge of all concerned professionals are often used to arrive at a definitive diagnosis. Once a neurologist has confirmed a patient has multiple sclerosis, MS, the next step is for the healthcare team to create an individualized treatment plan. Disease-modifying treatments, DMTs, and symptom management are common components of multiple sclerosis, MS, treatment plans. DMTs work to lessen the severity and frequency of relapses, halt the disease's advancement, and lessen the cumulative effects of impairment. Multiple sclerosis, MS, treatment options vary by disease subtype, illness severity, patient preference, and possibility for adverse effects. Selecting the best DMT for each patient is a complex process that requires the expertise of neurologists who specialize in treating MS. Improving a patient's quality of life requires not only disease-modifying therapies, DMTs, but also careful attention to their symptoms. Professionals in the medical field such as physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists may be needed for this purpose. The patient may be experiencing mobility challenges, muscle weakness, stiffness, cognitive difficulties, or speech impairments, and these specialists can help address these issues and others. Because of the emotional and psychological effects of MS, psychologists and other mental health specialists may be involved in the care of patients. Individuals with chronic conditions are offered counseling and support services to help them manage their daily lives. In order to assess disease activity, monitor therapy response, and make any required modifications to the treatment plan, neurologists often schedule periodic sessions to further aid patients and their loved ones in comprehending the nature of the illness, dealing with symptoms, and making educated healthcare decisions. The healthcare team may also give educational materials and tools. Given the long-term nature of MS, it is essential for the patient, their neurologist, and other members of their healthcare team to regularly discuss treatment options and collaborate to achieve the best possible outcomes. After receiving a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, a patient will work with their healthcare team to create an individualized treatment plan that will address both their condition and its symptoms. Multiple sclerosis, MS, patients benefit greatly from a multidisciplinary approach to care, in which neurologists collaborate with other specialists such as physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, and mental health professionals to provide round-the-clock care, regular monitoring, and emotional and psychological support. Secondary problems or comorbidities have been linked to MS in certain patients. For instance, those who have trouble moving around may need the help of a wheelchair or cane. Physiatrists and rehabilitation experts, who focus on restoring or improving physical function, may be part of the healthcare team. Because multiple sclerosis may have such a wide-ranging impact on a person's life, medical experts provide more than just treatment. A social worker or case manager might be involved to deal with monetary and logistical issues, facilitate access to services. A person's mental health and relationships may suffer as a result of dealing with a chronic illness. Like MS, psychologists and counselors may provide therapy to help people deal with emotional difficulties, learn coping mechanisms, and improve their mental health. Effects of a diagnosis on one's mental and emotional health. Shock is a common initial reaction to hearing that you have MS. The diagnosis of a chronic and potentially crippling ailment can come as a devastating blow to one's self-esteem. It throws off people's expectations of what it means to live a normal and healthy life, forcing them to struggle with doubt and perplexity. Anxiety and depression are the logical next steps. Deep-seated concerns about losing one's independence, physical competence, and quality of life might be sparked by the news of multiple sclerosis, its unpredictable path, and the possibility of impairment. Feeling helpless in the face of the disease's relentless advance can amplify these concerns. Having MS is typically accompanied by feelings of depression. Depression, pessimism, and despair may set in due to the persistent nature of the condition's physical and mental manifestations. Realizing that your life may change drastically and that you may never be the same again is a major source of anguish. The unfairness of the diagnosis may sometimes trigger feelings of anger and resentment. They may harbor resentment towards their condition, the healthcare system, or even other people for failing to appreciate the difficulties they encounter. Relationships might become strained or even break down entirely as a result of these feelings. A person's loved ones are also affected by a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. As they deal with the new reality and the complexity of helping their loved one, family, and close friends often endure their own emotional upheaval. Their feelings of powerlessness, remorse, or even resentment can put a strain on their relationships and add to the emotional weight they already carry. The emotional path after receiving a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis includes the crucial step of acceptance. Accepting the prognosis means accepting the restrictions and unknowns, but it also means finding the strength and optimism to move forward. Even if accepting a condition does not mean giving up, it does require shifting one's attention to ways of coping with it and improving one's quality of life. A sense of belonging and understanding can be gained via interactions with other people living with MS or by participation in support groups. Psychologists and therapists, among others, can provide invaluable insight and aid in the development of coping mechanisms to assist patients deal with the psychological stresses brought on by the diagnosis. The psychological and emotional effects of an MS diagnosis are complex and unique to each individual. It requires working through a wide range of feelings, from initial shock and fear to eventual depression and rage. But people with MS can learn to adapt, develop inner strength, and lead fulfilling lives with the help of family, friends, and self-care. The possibility of experiencing an identity crisis is another psychological effect of MS. Before receiving the diagnosis, a person's identity might have been based on their work, interests, or physical prowess. Disruption of various facets of one's identity might result from the limits imposed by MS, leading to feelings of loss, bewilderment, and the desire to reimagine oneself. Memory issues, inability to focus, and difficulties processing information are just few of the cognitive symptoms of MS that can have a profound effect on a person's mental health. Disruptions in everyday life, at work, and in relationships can result from cognitive difficulties, which can lead to feelings of irritation, low self-esteem, and an increased need for assistance. A MS diagnosis might also have an impact on one's social and interpersonal life. Fear of becoming a burden on loved ones, isolation due to physical limits, and difficulty adjusting to new intimate or parental responsibilities are just some of the relationship-related emotions that people may face. Healthy relationships and a solid support system can be maintained via open communication, educating loved ones about MS, and actively seeking support from those closest to you. Although receiving a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis can cause drastic shifts in outlook on life, it is possible to discover strength, community, and purpose. Although life with MS might be difficult, it is possible to overcome the disease's obstacles with time and the correct resources. Chapter 3. Medication and Therapy. Treatment for multiple sclerosis, MS, must take into account the whole scope of this complex neurological disease. Medication, therapy, and even changes in one's way of life can all play a role in alleviating symptoms and slowing the advancement of the disease. Disease-modifying treatments, DMTs, are an integral part of MS treatment, as they alter the immune system's response and lessen the severity of relapses. These drugs work to halt the spread of MS and stop the development of new lesions in the brain and spinal cord. Different types of DMTs, such as those administered via injection, oral medication, or infusion therapy, each have their own set of advantages and disadvantages. Patients and neurologists work together to choose the best treatment option for each individual. Physical therapy helps people with MS by strengthening their muscles, developing their balance and coordination, and boosting their mobility. This is in addition to the medications that are used to treat their symptoms and enhance their quality of life. Occupational therapy teaches people how to use adaptive strategies and assistive technology to continue participating in their everyday lives independently. Some people with MS also seek relief from their symptoms via the use of complementary and alternative medicine. Acupuncture, massage therapy, yoga, and Tai Chi are among examples. These methods may help alleviate symptoms and improve general health, but it's crucial to check with a doctor to make sure they'll work well with your current regimen and won't cause any unwanted side effects. Regular exercise, adapted to each person's ability, can help increase strength, flexibility, and overall fitness, and is an important part of MS management. To promote health and well-being, it is recommended that one consume a diet high in plant-based foods, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Emotional health depends on having a solid network of people to lean on. People living with MS and their loved ones can benefit greatly from the emotional support and safe environment provided by support groups and counseling. Management of multiple sclerosis also requires constant attention and check-ins with medical experts. Effectiveness of treatment is evaluated, disease progression is tracked, and course corrections are made as necessary by neurologists and other professionals caring for MS patients. The course of treatment for multiple sclerosis varies greatly from person to person. Treatment strategies are individualized to meet the needs and objectives of each patient because of the wide range of possible responses to the condition. It is critical for the person with MS, their healthcare staff, and their support network to work closely together for the best possible treatment outcomes and quality of life. While there has been progress in MS treatment, the disease is still chronic and incurable at this time. However, progress in medical science maintains the promise of future improvements in treatment and even cures. People living with MS should keep a positive attitude and take charge of their care by actively searching out new information and actively participating in their treatment plan. The importance of self-care and self-advocacy in managing multiple sclerosis should not be understated. Self-care activities that improve an individual's sense of well-being and help them cope with their MS symptoms should be a top priority. This includes doing things like learning and using effective methods for dealing with stress, getting regular physical activity within their capabilities, and eating a healthy, well-balanced diet. Having the backing of loved ones and the MS community at large can make a world of difference in the battle against the disease. Having a community of people to talk to, get advice from, and feel supported by who know what it's like to live with MS is priceless. People can meet others who are going through the same things they are and learn from each other's experiences and coping mechanisms through local support groups, online forums, and social media platforms. The emotional and mental toll that MS takes must also be taken into account. Feelings of anger, despair, or worry are common among those who live with a chronic condition like MS. Seeking out counseling or therapy can aid in the development of healthy coping strategies, the resolution of emotional pain, and the improvement of one's general psychological health. Keeping a positive view and mindset can greatly improve one's outlook and quality of life. Every day might be a struggle when you have multiple sclerosis, but keeping an optimistic outlook, making reasonable plans, and savoring even the smallest of successes can help. Chapter 4. The toll of multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis affects a person's ability to move around. Muscle weakness, especially in the legs, is common, making it difficult to move around or take part in physical activity. People who have trouble starting or stopping their movements may walk more slowly or in a different way. It is possible that some people with MS will need to use crutches, walkers, or wheelchairs to get around. Disrupted signals within the neurological system make it difficult for people with MS to keep their equilibrium. This may lead to persistent episodes of dizziness or a general sense of unsteadiness. Normal, everyday activities like getting up from chair or walking on uneven ground can suddenly become dangerous. Disrupted nerve impulses can lead to uncoordinated movements, tremors, and issues with fine motor skills. MS can also have a substantial impact on coordination, which relies on exact communication between the brain, spinal cord, and muscles. Writing, typing, and buttoning are just a few examples of tasks that can be difficult and time-consuming if you lack good hand-eye coordination. Even the simplest of tasks, like getting a drink of water or eating with utensils, may become difficult, calling for the use of adaptive methods or assistive equipment. A person with multiple sclerosis may find it difficult to go about their everyday lives, take part in social activities, and preserve their sense of autonomy due to issues with movement, balance, and coordination. Loss of pride in oneself, increasing dependency on others, and emotions of dissatisfaction or powerlessness are all possible outcomes. It's worth noting, though, that these symptoms and the rate at which they worsen can vary greatly from one person with MS to the next. Fortunately, a wide range of treatments, including physical therapy, assistive devices, and medications, can help manage and alleviate these symptoms, resulting in enhanced functioning and quality of life. Multiple sclerosis not only affects a person's physical abilities, but also their ability to engage in social situations and take part in everyday activities. Fear of falling or feeling ashamed of one's physical limitations might discourage people from participating in active or social pursuits. Withdrawing from social activities can result in loneliness, isolation, and a diminished sense of belonging. Mobility, balance, and coordination issues are exacerbated by the cognitive impairments that can accompany MS, such as memory attention, and problem-solving issues. Problems with cognition might make it hard to do things like plan and carry out physical tasks, pay attention during therapy sessions, or adjust to new circumstances. It is crucial for treatment and support measures for people with MS to take into account the person as a whole, given the added load that physical and cognitive deficits have on them. It is important to stress that while MS can have a significant impact on a person's ability to move around, balance, and coordinate, everyone's experience with the disease is different. Individuals with MS can often learn to cope with their symptoms, adjust to their limits, and achieve their full functional potential with the help of professional medical care, rehabilitation, and emotional and social support. It is possible for people with MS to live full and active lives with the use of rehabilitation programs, physical therapy, assistive devices, and drugs that improve mobility, balance, and coordination. Working through exhaustion, discomfort, and sensory difficulties. People with MS often report extreme fatigue, which might interfere with their ability to go about their daily lives. Listen to your body and put sleep first if you want to beat weariness. Some examples of this would include developing a regular sleep schedule and taking frequent breaks during the day. Light exercise, like yoga or stretching, can also aid with fatigue management by boosting energy levels. Muscle discomfort, neuropathic pain, and stiffness are all challenging symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Seeking professional medical advice is crucial when looking at pain management options. Treatment options include pharmaceuticals, physiotherapy, and alternative methods, including acupuncture and massage. Deep breathing exercises and meditation are two examples of relaxation practices that may aid with pain management and general health improvement. Numbness, tingling, or heightened sensitivity are all examples of sensory disorders that can make daily life difficult or even painful. Taking part in activities that stimulate the senses in a safe and manageable way might be a helpful way to deal with these problems. Warm baths and other sensory items, such as vibrating pillows, can also help. If you suffer from hypersensitivity, dressing loosely and comfortably can help. You can learn what feels best by experimenting with different temperatures and textures. It's also crucial to modify your routine and surroundings to suit your requirements. Adapting one's living or working conditions can help make them more user-friendly and less taxing on the body. Mobility aids and ergonomic gadgets are only two examples of assistive technology that might make life a little easier. Seeking the help of an occupational therapist can show you how to modify your surroundings and learn new techniques to save energy and lessen pain. What helps one person with MS may not help another, so it's important to keep an open mind. Self-compassion and patience are essential in coping with the difficulties of living with multiple sclerosis, as is maintaining regular contact with healthcare providers, keeping up with the latest research and treatment options, and speaking up for your own needs. Mild exercise, like swimming or walking, has many positive effects. It's a great way to increase your happiness and your physical health at the same time. Creative outlets like painting, writing, or playing an instrument may be very therapeutic and provide you a sense of progress as well. It's important to explore all of your options while dealing with symptoms. Complementary therapy, such as acupuncture, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and herbal remedies have helped some people with multiple sclerosis. However, you should talk to your doctor about these possibilities to be sure they are safe and appropriate for your condition. Memory and focus. Those who suffer from multiple sclerosis often struggle with their memory, especially their short-term recall, making it hard for them to keep track of recent thoughts, conversations, or chores. Appointments, names, and other specifics become increasingly difficult to remember. It may be more difficult to recall events from the past or information you have acquired. People with MS may find it difficult to concentrate on a single job for an extended period of time, which can lead to distractions and a drop in productivity. Reading and problem-solving are examples of mental activities that may take more time and energy to complete. Delays in reaction time have been linked to MS, which can impair processing speed. This can have repercussions in many areas of daily life, including the ability to understand spoken language and the speed with which one can think and make decisions. Another typical symptom of multiple sclerosis is mental exhaustion, which can be exacerbated by engaging in intellectually taxing activities for long stretches of time. The inability to focus, recall, and absorb information can be severely impaired by this type of fatigue, which may or may not be related to physical exhaustion. Individuals with MS may have trouble not only with the aforementioned cognitive impairments, but also with multitasking, problem-solving, organization, and planning. The effects of these mental shifts can be seen in many areas of life, including productivity, relationships, and happiness. Cognitive difficulties caused by MS require a holistic strategy for treatment. Cognitive rehabilitation is an approach suggested by medical practitioners to help patients regain or enhance their mental faculties. Memory exercises, concentration drills, and learning coping mechanisms are all possible outcomes of such programs. Alterations to one's way of life can also help maintain healthy brain function. Taking care of one's mental health can be as simple as eating right, exercising regularly, controlling one's stress, and getting enough sleep. Medication can be helpful in managing certain cognitive problems in some circumstances. Some cognitive impairments can be treated with medicine that improves focus and concentration or combats weariness. The effects of mental decline can be lessened by sticking to a routine and staying on top of things. Keeping track of appointments and deadlines is much easier with the help of calendars, reminders, and other digital task management tools. It is possible to make difficult tasks more approachable and less taxing on the brain by breaking them down into smaller, more doable steps. This method can be used to compensate for slow processing and limited working memory. Changing the environment for the better can also have its advantages. Concentration and productivity can be improved by eliminating or reducing potential distractions, establishing a calm and well-lit work environment, and employing assistive technologies like speech recognition software or dictation tools. Puzzles, reading, learning new skills, and hobbies are all great ways to keep the mind active and maybe even stave off cognitive loss as we age. Although the efficacy of cognitive exercises and brain training applications is still a topic of current research, they may also be used. Fostering autonomy through adaptation and technology. Symptoms of multiple sclerosis can make even the simplest of tasks difficult. Canes, walkers, and wheelchairs are some examples of mobility aids that may help those who have trouble getting around. Cognitively impaired people may benefit from using reminder applications, voice-activated assistants, or paper calendars to keep track of appointments and responsibilities. It can be difficult for someone to express themselves clearly if they have speech issues or decreased dexterity. A voice generator or text-to-speech software can be a lifesaver for people in this situation. These gadgets give people with limited speech the ability to express themselves through typing or selecting pre-programmed phrases, increasing their socialization and sense of autonomy. Modifications to the physical environment, such as placing grab bars in restrooms or ramps at entryways, can increase safety and accessibility within the home and are an important contributor to boosting independence for people with MS. Adjustable height furniture and specialized kitchenware are examples of the ergonomic adjustments that can make daily life easier and more pleasurable for people with MS. To use technology and take part in business or leisure activities, people with restricted hand function can use adaptive computer peripherals such as customized keyboards or speech recognition software. Home automation systems that respond to voice commands make it easier for people to manage things like lighting and temperature in their homes. Many people with MS have found that they can regain or keep their independence by making use of assistive equipment. In spite of the challenges offered by MS, these methods and resources equip people to take back control of their life and move forward with the pursuit of happiness. Adaptive methods and assistive technology can also improve one's mental health. They can prevent people from feeling isolated or left out by helping them keep up their social networks and take part in important activities. For instance, communication aids help people express themselves clearly, which improves their ability to communicate with others and lessens their feelings of isolation. Chapter 5. Emotional effects of multiple sclerosis. Many people who are given a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis struggle with feelings of grief at the loss of their old life and their once certain future. A profound sense of loss and sadness might result from coming to terms with the fact that things might never be the same again. The ongoing struggle with the disease, the physical restrictions, and the uncertainty it brings can all add to feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, and a lack of interest or pleasure in previously cherished activities, all of which can exacerbate the depression that typically MS. The unpredictable nature of symptom flare-ups, the fear of disability progression, and the inability to anticipate the future can all contribute to anxiety, and a person living with MS persistent anxiety might result from worrying about dealing with the disease's symptoms, keeping one's independence, and adjusting to its limitations. Managing medical visits, therapies, and prescriptions, in addition to the urge to keep some semblance of normalcy in one's life, can be a constant source of stress for someone with MS. The stress that results from worrying about paying for medical expenses and losing one's job can have negative effects on one's physical and mental health. The emotional toll of a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis is felt not just by the person themselves, but also by their loved ones. Seeing their loved ones struggle can be emotionally taxing and upsetting for friends and family members. They may feel powerless, guilty, and frustrated as they try to offer comfort without completely understanding the magnitude of the experience. For optimal health, it is essential to recognize and address the emotional impact of multiple sclerosis. A vital resource for processing and negotiating these complex emotions is the assistance provided by counseling, support groups, and connecting with people who understand struggles. Mindfulness practices, physical activity, and self-care are all effective ways to deal with emotional stress. Isolation is a common emotional reaction to MS. Social isolation is a common side effect of having a chronic illness due to the fear of being judged or the inability to participate in previous favorite activities. Isolation like this might make you feel even lonely and add to your emotional pain. A primary source of emotional discomfort is the loss of autonomy. Individuals with MS may experience difficulties with movement, cognition, and daily functioning, requiring support from family and friends. Frustration, resentment, and a sense of lowered self-worth can result from feeling helpless, further adding to emotional pressure. Relationships and family dynamics might be further impacted by MS. Stress and emotional strain may develop for partners as they adjust to their loved ones' new requirements. Relationship dynamics may change, leading to a rethinking of responsibilities and obligations. Tension, disagreements, and other emotional issues may arise during this time of adjustment. Fear and concern about the future are also significant emotional effects of multiple sclerosis due to the disease's uncertain course and the risk of progressive impairment. People with MS may worry about the disease's impact on their professional and personal lives. This lack of knowledge can be mentally and emotionally draining, making an already difficult situation even more so. One of the most important things you can do for your mental health is to engage in self-care practices that are unique to you. Some examples of what might fall into this category are going for regular workouts, eating right, learning how to relax, and pursuing satisfying pastimes or creative endeavors. A positive outlook can be maintained by the use of strategies such as setting realistic goals, cultivating self-compassion, and appreciating minor accomplishments. Recognizing that feelings might change as a person's journey with MS progresses is important. Periods of relative stability and emotional well-being may occur, during which people with this illness report feeling more in control and better able to manage the condition. However, there could be periods of increased emotional sensitivity due to things like the course of disease, relapses, or major life events. Building resilience and learning effective coping mechanisms becomes crucial in times of stress and uncertainty. In order to deal with overwhelming feelings and learn healthy coping techniques, it may be helpful to seek professional therapy or counseling. Prioritizing mental health means understanding that asking for assistance is not a sign of weakness, but rather an act of strength. While it's important to have the backing of trained professionals, it's also helpful to find those who can relate. Participating in MS support groups or online communities can help you feel less alone, foster empathy, and provide a safe space to talk about how you're doing emotionally. People can take comfort in the notion that they are not alone and gain insight from the experiences of others by forming these bonds. Therapy. Individuals with MS can benefit from cognitive behavioral treatment, CBT. The goal of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is to help people learn to recognize and replace unhelpful ways of thinking and behaving so that they can better handle stressful situations. CBT can boost emotional resilience and overall quality of life by helping people challenge problematic beliefs and acquire new ways of thinking. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, is one type of mindfulness-based treatment. This treatment emphasizes living in the here and now, building an attitude of acceptance in the face of the inevitable change that comes with living with multiple sclerosis. Meditation and deep breathing exercises are two examples of mindfulness practices that can aid in the development of a more empathetic and non-judgmental outlook towards one's experiences. Those who suffer from multiple sclerosis might benefit greatly from participating in a support group, where they can talk to people who understand what they're going through. Emotional support and validation can be gained by participation in a support group, as can the reduction of feelings of isolation and the enhancement of resilience. Art and music therapy are two examples of creative therapies that might be helpful. Self-expression and emotional release are enhanced when people participate in activities that encourage them to express themselves creatively and emotionally. Despite the difficulties associated with MS, these treatments allow for expansion of one's self-awareness and the discovery of fresh joys and meanings in life. Keeping up a healthy lifestyle is also essential for mental toughness. Exercising regularly, in a way that suits one's talents and preferences, has been linked to better mental and emotional health. A healthy lifestyle includes things like getting enough sleep, eating well, and learning stress reduction practices like yoga and journaling. It's crucial to surround yourself with encouraging people. In addition to loved ones and medical experts, this support system might also include neighbors, coworkers, and community members. When dealing with the emotional ups and downs of living with MS, having a solid support system can be invaluable. Although it is normal to have feelings of despair, anger, or loss, it is important to keep a positive view in order to cope with the emotional effects of MS. This entails actively seeking out moments of joy and laughter in daily life, as well as focusing on your strengths and accomplishments, keeping a good outlook, and engaging in self-care activities. Individuals with MS can take the first steps towards self-care by identifying and embracing their condition. Learning to manage one's emotions and responses requires introspection, insight, and practice. Understanding oneself allows one to take advantage of one's own abilities, interests, and joys. Positive thinking is at the heart of good mental health. Keeping the mind active with puzzles, reading, or acquiring new skills can distract the mind from dwelling on unpleasant ideas. Mindfulness and meditation are additional tools for cultivating serenity and clarity with which to deal with daily stresses and pressures. Managing stress is an important part of self-care for those with MS. Illnesses and conditions can be made worse by stress. Therefore, it is critical to understand what causes stress and how to deal with it. Methods such as deep breathing and progressive muscular relaxation can help with this. Spending time in nature, listening to music, or trying out aromatherapy are all great ways to unwind and relieve stress. Those who suffer from MS would do well to create a regular sleep regimen in order to maximize relaxation and renewal. Supporting health and providing the body with critical nutrients, a diet rich in whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and lean meats is highly recommended. Effective management of MS symptoms also includes avoiding excessive alcohol consumption and, if possible, giving up smoking. Another important part of MS management and self-care is learning to advocate for yourself. It entails having open and honest conversations with medical professionals, voicing concerns, and taking an active role in determining one's own care. Individuals can better ensure that their particular requirements, preferences, and goals are taken into account and addressed by healthcare providers by taking an active role in their care. Chapter 6. The effects of multiple sclerosis on relationships. The unpredictable nature of MS symptoms can cause stress in interpersonal relationships. Symptoms such as these might fluctuate from day to day, sometimes even within the span of a single 24-hour period. Because of this, it can be difficult to make plans for and take part in social activities, which can be frustrating and disappointing for everyone concerned. Problems with memory, focus, and information processing are just some of the cognitive symptoms of MS that can hinder a person's ability to have meaningful discussions. They may have trouble expressing themselves, understanding more nuanced arguments, or remembering recent occurrences. Frustration and misunderstanding can arise as a result, putting a strain on relationships and making the person with MS feel alone. Emotions like fear, despair, and sadness are common responses to the news of a chronic illness like MS and its inevitable progression. It might be difficult for loved ones of a person with MS to understand and deal with the person's mood swings. As both partners strive to keep up with and properly communicate their sentiments, the relationship may feel the strain. Sexuality and close interpersonal relationships may also be affected by MS. Fatigue, pain, and sexual dysfunction are all physical problems that can make it difficult for a person to maintain close relationships. As a result, the couple may experience a decline in sexual desire or performance, which can bring up feelings of rejection, guilt, or dissatisfaction. Despite its difficulties, MS can be an opportunity for self-improvement, resilience, and connection with others. Personal relationships can be strengthened through open and honest communication, patience, and mutual support as the person with MS and their loved ones work through the effects of the disease together. The effects of MS on interpersonal relationships are not limited to those within the immediate circle of care. Colleagues, friend circles, and even chance encounters could all suffer. When people notice that you have multiple sclerosis, MS, they may become curious and uncomfortable, especially if you're having trouble moving about or communicating because of it. This might lead to the MS patient feeling embarrassed or misunderstood, which in turn can cause them to retreat from their social circle. As multiple sclerosis, MS, worsens, it may become necessary to seek outside assistance or make adjustments to the home. Carer presence and alterations made for accessibility can alter family life and personal space. All parties involved may need time to adjust to these changes, and it may take clear lines of communication and mutual respect to keep the peace. The emotional toll of multiple sclerosis, MS, can extend to its financial costs. Medical expenses, including those for treatment, medication, assistive devices, and changes to one's way of life, can put a serious financial strain on individuals and families. Relationships can be strained when people are worried about money and can't afford to do the things they want to do together. The chronic nature of MS also necessitates the development of coping mechanisms and strategies for optimal management. Altering one's way of life, sticking to prescribed treatments, and reaching out for moral support are all possible steps in this direction. The dynamics of relationships may shift as a result of changes in priorities or routines brought about by these modifications. Loved ones should be patient and encouraging while the person with MS adapts to these changes and works to keep life feeling as normal as possible. There are many obstacles that people with MS face in their relationships, but it's important to remember that each relationship is different and the effects of MS can vary widely. Understanding, empathy, and flexibility within relationships all play a role in how well they weather the storm of multiple sclerosis. Having honest conversations, learning as much as possible about the disease, and consulting with trained professionals can all help to maintain positive relationships and mitigate the effects of MS. Intimacy after MS diagnosis. It's important for people with MS and their partners to talk openly about their hopes, worries, and expectations regarding sex and romance. By opening up about their struggles and celebrating their successes, couples can strengthen their bonds and create a safe space in which each member can feel heard and understood. Understanding the changes in sensation, libido, or physical abilities that may occur as a result of multiple sclerosis can help both individuals and their relationships prepare for and cope with these challenges. The advice and counsel of medical experts, such as neurologists, urologists, or sexual health specialists, can be quite helpful. Trying new things together is a great way to keep the spark alive in a relationship. Even if some sexual acts become more difficult, doing things like snuggling, kissing, or holding hands can help you feel closer together. Keep in mind that a wide range of warm and personal actions can constitute intimacy, not just sexual contact. Finding new ways to experience pleasure and keeping a satisfying sexual life can be achieved by individuals with MS and their partners through experimentation with different postures, the use of supportive aids or devices, and the use of creativity during sexual interactions. Improving sexual health can also be aided by addressing individual symptoms and obtaining professional medical help when necessary. Sexual function and comfort may be improved, for instance, by treating and preventing exhaustion, discomfort, spasticity, and bladder and bowel problems using medication, physical therapy, and lifestyle adjustments. Sexual health can be negatively impacted by MS-related mental health issues, such as depression, anxiety, or body image concerns. Individuals can improve their well-being and sexual satisfaction by seeking support from mental health specialists, support groups, or activities that encourage relaxation and self-care. It's just as crucial to work on your relationship outside of the bedroom. Couples can improve their bond and have more relationship satisfaction when they participate in activities that promote emotional intimacy, such as having in-depth conversations, enjoying common interests, or spending quality time together. A good sense of humor and an optimistic outlook can go a long way in assisting those living with MS to deal with the difficulties of intimate relationships and sexual well-being. Individuals and relationships benefit from adopting a positive outlook because it increases their ability to deal with stress, adjust to new situations, take risks, and experience happiness and fulfillment in their relationships. Chapter 7. Exercise and MS. Regular exercise and movement can do wonders for your state of mind. Endorphins, or feel-good hormones, are released in response to physical activity, and their effects include improving mood and alleviating stress and sadness. Better sleep habits, essential to one's mental and emotional health, are another benefit of regular physical activity. Individuals with MS who regularly engage in physical activity report stronger psychological resilience, higher self-esteem, and a sense of mastery over their disease. Exercising and other forms of physical activity also help people meet new people, which helps reduce feelings of isolation. Participating in MS-specific exercise programs or other group activities might help people connect with others who understand their struggles. Feelings of isolation and loneliness are common among people with chronic disorders like MS, but by connecting with others who share similar experiences, struggles, and victories, a sense of community and belonging can be fostered. Regular exercise has been linked to a lower risk of developing other chronic conditions like cardiovascular disease and osteoporosis, both of which may be more common in people with MS due to inactivity and certain medications. Individuals can enhance their health and possibly lessen the effects of comorbid diseases by adopting a healthy lifestyle that includes physical activity. MS patients who engage in regular exercise report feeling more independent and in charge of their bodies. Symptoms and restrictions from multiple sclerosis can be difficult to foresee. Regular exercise is one way in which people may take charge of their health and make decisions that will have a beneficial effect on their lives. When people feel like they have some say in how they manage their illness, it can give them a boost of confidence. Neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to change and make new connections, is also enhanced by regular exercise and physical activity. Aerobic exercise has been shown to improve brain function and stimulate the growth of new neurons, which may mitigate some of the cognitive impairments caused by multiple sclerosis and lead to better memory, attention, and information processing, as well as an overall boost in cognitive ability and quality of life. Many common pastimes can be modified to suit participants of varying physical abilities. Individuals with MS can tailor their exercise routines to their needs and preferences by selecting from a wide variety of options, including low-impact exercises like swimming and yoga, as well as strength training and cardiovascular activities. Finding exercise routines that are both pleasurable and doable is crucial for keeping people committed to their health and fitness goals. It's important to remember that people with MS should talk to their doctors or experts who are familiar with MS care before beginning or making any changes to their exercise routine. These experts can advise patients on how to exercise safely and effectively based on their individual circumstances. Exercise and other forms of physical activity can aid in the overall management of multiple sclerosis. There is currently no cure for multiple sclerosis, MS. However, the disease can be controlled by a combination of treatment options. When combined with conventional medical care, exercise can be an extremely beneficial complementary therapy. Disease-modifying medicines have been demonstrated to be more successful when combined with physical activity. Consistent exercise enhances the body's response to these drugs, which may increase their effectiveness and decrease disease development. Individuals with MS who include exercise in their treatment regimen may see greater improvement from their medication therapies and experience fewer, less severe relapses. Exercising regularly also aids MS patients in controlling their weight and dealing with related health issues. Conditions like obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease have been linked to having multiple sclerosis. The risk of developing comorbidities such as obesity, cardiovascular disease, and insulin resistance can be lowered by engaging in regular physical activity. Exercising and being physically active has other health benefits, including a stronger immune system. Exercise has been found to have beneficial impacts on immunological function and control, which is especially important for people with multiple sclerosis, MS. Moderate exercise has been shown to improve immune function by lowering inflammation and regulating the body's inflammatory response. This immune system regulation may slow or even halt the worsening of multiple sclerosis. Diet and nutrition. It's crucial to eat a healthy diet full of different types of foods high in essential nutrients. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, and healthy fats should all be part of your daily diet. Vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber included in these meals all work together to strengthen the immune system and improve general health. Anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids can be found in foods like fatty fish, like salmon and mackerel, flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. Incorporating some of these foods into your diet may help reduce the inflammation that MS symptoms. High consumption of antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables, such as berries, leafy greens, and citrus fruits, has been linked to a reduced risk of developing MS, according to some research. Antioxidants like vitamin C and E and others found in these meals have been shown to be effective against oxidative stress and inflammation. Vitamin D, also known as the sunshine vitamin, is crucial for people with MS because of the correlation between vitamin D insufficiency and worsened disease symptoms. Those of us who live in the northern hemisphere or who have limited exposure to the sun may find it difficult to get enough vitamin D from sunshine alone. Fatty fish, dairy, and supplements taken under medical supervision are all good examples of dietary sources of vitamin D. The importance of a diverse and healthy gut microbiota in influencing immune function and inflammation is becoming more widely acknowledged, and this may have implications for MS. Eating probiotic-rich foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi, as well as prebiotic foods like onions, garlic, and whole grains is vital. Some people with MS experience fatigue, although it can be managed with dietary changes. Maintaining consistent blood sugar and energy levels throughout the day is most easily accomplished by eating frequent, healthy meals and snacks. Fatigue caused by iron deficiency anemia can be treated by eating more iron-rich foods such as lean meats, beans, and leafy greens. Water as the primary beverage and eating hydrating foods like fruits and vegetables can help maintain optimal hydration levels and support overall health, which is important for everyone, including those with MS. Dietary changes can be helpful, but it's important to consult with experts like registered dietitians who can offer individualized advice and make sure all your nutritional bases are covered. Each person with MS is different, so it's important to tailor a nutrition plan to their specific needs, likes and dislikes, as well as potential drug interactions. Extra weight can make MS symptoms worse by putting stress on the bones, joints, and muscles already affected by the disease. Maintaining a healthy weight can be accomplished by incorporating thoughtful eating and regular exercise into one's lifestyle. Due to muscle weakness, some people with MS may have trouble swallowing or chewing. If this is the case, eating can be made easier and more pleasurable by selecting softer foods or by pureeing them. A healthy diet and nutrition can help with MS symptom management, but they shouldn't be used in place of medical treatment and therapy recommended by a doctor. Any changes to your diet should be discussed with your healthcare provider to ensure they are appropriate for your condition and needs. Sleep hygiene, stress reduction, and relaxation techniques. Good sleep hygiene is an essential part of MS management. Developing a regular bedtime routine can improve sleep quality and duration by facilitating the body's natural sleep-wake cycle. Maintaining a cool and dark bedroom, utilizing comfortable bedding, and reducing noise and distractions are all part of healthy sleep hygiene practices. Good sleep can be gotten by avoiding stimulants like caffeine and electronic gadgets in the hours before bed. The body can be better prepared for restful sleep if a soothing pre-sleep habit is established, such as reading a book or taking a warm bath. Managing stress effectively can help mitigate its harmful physiological effects. Yoga and Tai Chi are two forms of exercise that, when practiced regularly, provide the added benefits of reducing stress and improving flexibility and balance. Stress and anxiety can be alleviated by the cultivation of a sense of calmness and present moment awareness through the use of mindfulness or meditation practices. Hobbies, time in nature, and spending time with loved ones are all examples of stress-relieving activities that bring joy and fulfillment. Relaxation practices are beneficial for improving health in general. The purpose of progressive muscle relaxation is to reduce muscular tension and enhance a feeling of relaxation by systematically contracting and relaxing a series of muscles. Listening to soothing music, using essential oils and aromatherapy, or getting a massage are all great ways to unwind and improve your mood. Trying out various supplementary and alternative treatments. Acupuncture, which has its roots in ancient Chinese medicine, is a well-liked alternative treatment. Needles of varying thickness are inserted into the skin at strategic spots on the body to stimulate the flow of qi and restore equilibrium. Acupuncture has been shown to enhance mobility and mood in persons with multiple sclerosis by reducing symptoms like pain, exhaustion, and muscle stiffness. Herbal medicine is another strategy that uses plant-based medicines to assist the body's own healing mechanisms. In order to ensure the safe and appropriate use of herbal remedies, it is important to consult with a knowledgeable herbalist or healthcare professional. Herbs like ginkgo biloba and turmeric have shown potential in reducing inflammation and enhancing cognitive function, which can be beneficial for individuals with MS. Energy-based therapies like Reiki and Healing Touch are gaining recognition for their potential to restore balance and harmony in the body, and alternative and complementary therapies encompass a wide range of approaches aimed at promoting overall well-being and quality of life for individuals with MS. The purpose of these techniques is to promote relaxation and the flow of healing energy by gently placing hands on the body. Creative therapies like art therapy and music therapy allow people to express themselves freely and work through their emotions. Individuals with MS can benefit from engaging in art therapy by using painting, drawing, or other artistic mediums as a means of self-expression, stress management, and increased self-awareness. Similar to how talk therapy may boost morale and ease tension, music therapy can uplift spirits and sharpen the mind. Music is a powerful tool for emotional health and happiness, whether you play an instrument, sing, or just listen to it. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT, and venom therapy are two alternative treatment techniques that have received a lot of interest for their possible usefulness in controlling MS symptoms in addition to these conventional treatments. Breathing pure oxygen in a pressurized chamber may speed healing and reduce inflammation thanks to hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT. Although the use of venom in therapy has been met with some resistance, there is some evidence that it can be used to boost the immune system and reduce symptoms. It's crucial to proceed carefully with these treatments and get advice from medical experts first. It's also important to think about the role that naturopathy and homeopathy could play in MS treatment. The goal of naturopathic medicine is to stimulate the body's innate capacity for self-healing through the use of natural therapies, such as herbal medications, vitamins, and alterations to one's way of life. In homeopathy, extremely diluted chemicals are used to provoke a healing response in the body. Although there is a dearth of research supporting naturopath and homeopath approaches to MS, certain patients may benefit from the individualized attention and holistic concepts these practitioners provide. It's best to keep an open mind while considering complementary and alternative medicine, but it's also crucial to be informed of the therapy's risks and limitations. These therapies are not meant to take the place of conventional medical treatments or drugs recommended by a healthcare practitioner, but they can be helpful in managing MS symptoms and enhancing general well-being. To maintain safe and coordinated care, it is essential to have open communication with healthcare practitioners, to tell them of any alternative therapies being pursued, and to seek their guidance. Chapter 8. Work, School, and Multiple Sclerosis. Transparency and open dialogue are essential in any professional setting. It is helpful to have open conversations about MS with one's supervisor, coworkers, and HR department. By raising awareness of multiple sclerosis and its effects, those living with the disease can increase acceptance and, if necessary, get reasonable accommodations like rearranged work schedules or adapted workspaces. The ability to prioritize and break down tasks into smaller, more manageable steps, as well as the use of tools like calendars, to-do lists, or productivity apps, are all important in managing work and school, while living with MS allocating time for relaxation and breaks helps people stay alert and productive all day long. Individuals with MS might benefit greatly from establishing professional relationships with others and seek out mentors who have navigated their professions successfully while living with MS. These relationships can be invaluable resources for job advancement and moral support in times of need. Individuals with MS who wish to advance in their careers should also prioritize continuing education and professional development. Individuals can learn new skills or update old ones at their own pace, taking into account their energy levels and physical limitations by investigating online courses, webinars, or part-time programs. Individuals can improve their employability and respond to shifts in the labor market by continuing to learn and apply new skills. Using these methods, people with MS can keep their health and happiness in check while still pursuing their professional and academic goals. Keep in mind that everyone's MS journey is different, and it may take some trial and error to discover the right balance for you. Individuals with MS can achieve their career goals while still prioritizing their quality of life, provided they are determined, resilient, and take the initiative to do so. Individuals with MS can gain from a supportive workplace in addition to the previously listed measures. One way to do this is by building rapport with one's superiors, peers, and subordinates. Having a strong network of professional ties can help foster a sense of belonging and bring solace in times of need. Working together as a team can help you get more done in less time and avoid wasting resources. Making adjustments to the physical workstation, such as rearranging furniture, supplying ergonomic equipment, or constructing accessible routes, is also an important part of managing work and education. With MS, productivity and communication are two areas where technology may play a major role. Individuals with physical disabilities can have equal opportunities for achievement through the use of assistive devices, speech-to-text software, and other accessible technologies. Working from home, cutting back on hours, or going freelance are all examples of flexible employment options that can help people with MS maintain a healthy work-life balance and alleviate some of the stress that can exacerbate MS symptoms. Taking the initiative to research alternative career paths that may include less strenuous physical activity while making use of existing skills can be a liberating decision. Individuals with MS can also benefit greatly from self-education. By keeping up with the latest developments in MS research, treatment options, and coping strategies, they will be better equipped to make decisions about their health and professional lives. One's professional competence and self-assurance can also increase if they take the initiative to educate themselves on the latest developments, trends, and best practices in their chosen sector. Making homes more accessible and modifying existing structures. Mobility inside the house should be a top priority for those with MS. First, make sure there aren't any obstructions in the way, including carpets or furniture that have gotten pushed to the side. You might want to rearrange the furniture so that there's enough of space to walk about and no obstacles that could cause someone to trip. Grab bars or handrails installed in hallways, stairwells, and restrooms help make getting around the house easier for people with mobility issues. These aid in balance and support as you go through these areas. They need to be fastened firmly to the walls so that they can support the loads placed on them. Some minor adjustments can greatly improve bathroom accessibility. A commode chair with armrests or a raised toilet seat can make it less of a struggle to get up and down from the toilet. You can further reduce the likelihood of slipping and falling by installing non-slip mats or adhesive strips in the shower and throughout the bathroom floor. In order to preserve one's autonomy and make meal preparation less of a chore, it is essential that the kitchen be adapted. People who use wheelchairs or have limited mobility will appreciate the convenience of lower counters or movable surfaces. One way to make cabinets more user-friendly is by adding pull-out shelves or drawers. Cabinet and sink faucets with lever-style handles are much simpler to turn than those with knobs. Every room in the house needs good lighting to improve safety and visibility. Use sheer drapes or blinds that can be opened and closed to let in as much natural light as possible. Especially in places with higher task requirements, such as workspaces or kitchen counters, you may want to install additional light fixtures or lamps to create a well-lit environment. Individuals with MS can benefit immensely from installing smart home technology, as it allows them to control appliances such as voice-activated assistants, automated lighting systems, and smart thermostats without using their limbs. People who have trouble moving around or using their hands can benefit greatly from these kinds of devices. Making a home accessible for someone with MS involves more than just making structural adjustments to furniture and fixtures. Access to information and other people is also important. Set up equipment that will make it easier for people to communicate with one another, such as a phone with large buttons or a speakerphone. Voice-activated technology is also useful because it enables people to manage their homes by speaking to their devices. Think about the results of climate and temperature regulation. MS symptoms can be made worse by hot or cold environments. Therefore, keeping the house at a steady temperature is essential. A comfortable indoor climate is easier to maintain with the help of a programmable or smart thermostat. Select flooring that is both slip-resistant and gentle on the feet. Choose flooring options that won't cause you to slip, such as hardwood, laminate, or low-pile carpeting. These make moving around easier and safer, especially for people using wheelchairs or other mobility aids. Make sure the power outlets are conveniently located and at a comfortable height. Think about installing higher outlets so you won't have to stoop or reach to use them. The change can make plugging in gadgets and charging equipment easier. Make good use of storage options that help you save time and effort. The simple act of labeling a box, drawer, or shelf can greatly improve its usability. Use stackable containers or baskets with labels to keep everything organized and easy to find. Include things like comfy seats, relaxing colors, and tranquil decor to help people unwind and feel good about themselves. Making your home more peaceful and less stressful through design is a great way to improve your surroundings. Keep in mind that each person with MS may have unique requirements and preferences when it comes to making their home accessible. It is essential to regularly assess and modify living quarters in light of changing needs and capabilities.